are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I know you're very busy. We'll get this going. I know you got a million things you got to do, so
Honestly, I don't really.
you're like,
This
I'm
is
chilling
it.
today. This is it. Well, hello everyone. I'm Giovanni Lago from the Next Best Series podcast, and today I'm joined by the star of Monsters, the Lyle and Erik Menendez story, Cooper Koch. Cooper, thank you.
Thank you.
First, I just want to start. Congratulations on your first Emmy nomination. That's
Thank
an
you so
incredible
much.
honor. I know some time has passed since the announcements went out. Has it like resonated? Has it like finally settled in? Or are you just trying to keep your mind going, not really to laminate on it until, the ceremony is in next month or in 2 months?
Yeah, I mean, I think I sort of had the practice from the Golden Globes one.
Yeah.
And so now I think, yeah, I
Feel like I'm
yeah,
used to. I got this. I'm on
yeah,
top.
I mean, I'm just like,
Award
so,
nominated actor here,
yeah,
light
I'm
work.
just like really used to, how these things go. It's just, no, I still sort of am like pinching myself and feel so lucky and
Mhm.
grateful, and just like I'm still a little bit in shock. I think that the Academy recognized me, and yeah, I feel so grateful, and I'm excited. I'm so excited to this is sort of the end of the era. It's
Yeah.
like the show by September, when the Emmys are, that'll sort of mark the show being out for a year. So, and then after the Emmys, it's like we won't really be promoting it anymore. It's just kind of, it'll sit there on Netflix, and
It's on to the next thing.
on to the next thing. So in a way, it's bittersweet.
Mhm.
And hopefully also the end of the era will come with the Menendez brothers finally being released from prison. Um, so there's just a whole lot of things to be excited about, and to also be sort of, you know, farewelling, I guess, which isn't a word, but
Now it is, so it's
now it
fine.
is.
It's funny you're starting on the end because I would love to take it back to the beginning, even before you started filming. I
Mhm.
think, any actor would kill to get the opportunity to work with Ryan Murphy.
Mhm.
And the first season of Monster was such a big deal. And I know that this is a role, a character that you've had past interest in before, and it comes your way. I still think, in a way, from someone in your perspective, you have to think as a performer, this is an incredibly thorny topic. If it's done the wrong way, it could be very insensitive. I think the way we built up true crime in today's like cultural consumption is a bit disregarding its way to these people's stories, both those who are victimized by it or those who committed it. And, reading the script, was there like, I wouldn't say internal conflict in a way, but was there a hesitancy? Did you have to have conversations with Ryan beforehand before jumping into it that made you feel, okay, this is finally not only a dream role for me, but everything's aligned in a way that I feel comfortable jumping into those shoes?
Yeah, great question. I I never had any hesitancy. I guess
Mhm.
when I got the like audition appointment or the self-tape appointment, do you know the scene in La La Land when Emma
You're
Stone,
you're you're getting you're already starting with me. So this is a great note. Is
yeah,
it
like
the
towards the end when Ryan Gosling goes to and shows up at her house, and is like, that casting director called and she's like, no, like this will kill me.
Yeah.
Like this will end me.
Mhm.
That was sort of how I felt when I got the audition for the show, of like, if I don't get this, like I will have to like quit. I don't think I will be able to do it.
Acting as it entirely, or do you mean this
I
pursuit for
mean,
character as a whole and just that chapter close into the
I
next
think I was
thing?
being really dramatic, but like, this will kill me if I don't get this.
Sure.
So that was sort of the only hesitancy that I had. But yeah, then when I read the scripts, I mean, I got the first 5 when I got the role.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get any of the scripts before I got the part. I just got a couple of scenes, and reading those, I felt really positive. And just from knowing the story and having already done loads of research, I I knew from reading those scenes that we were going to be in good hands, and that, the story was going to be told in a really interesting way. So, but yeah, and then when I read the scripts, I think it only further, confirmed that this was going to be something that would have a great impact on people. And of course, there are moments of it that, I was like, oh God, like this is interesting. This is an interesting choice. But I think I always motivated it with like, oh, I see what we're doing here. We're showing this to, you know, give other people's opinions voice. And I think that goes along with everything that we've sort of talked about in terms of all of these different perspectives. And, we're not just telling it from the brother's point of view. We're telling it from the world's point of view and the city's point of view at the time of the case, which I think actually gives you a broader scope of how to understand the story. And so I was really fascinated and interested by that. And then, when I read episode 5, I was like, okay, I think, I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to stay true to my character, do everything I can to advocate for him and play him authentically. And yeah.
I would love, we're jumping right into episode 5. Right? The Hurt Man really is the standout episode of the season. I think you're brilliant. A bit ironic considering 2 Netflix series that both have this very therapeutic one-on-one conversations between a psychiatrist or lawyer and
we were first.
Yeah, we were first.
Sorry,
Monster.
adolescent.
Sorry, adolescent. But, again, so dynamically different in terms of just how both scenes were directed. Michael Uppendahl, who works on the episode here, and then Ian Brennan's script, and then you're starting opposite of Ari Grainer. In this one, was it, when you read it, you see all the monologues, a dream that an actor is like, okay, it's something to chew in, it's something to dive into. But in terms of the practicality of how it's going to film, was it always from the beginning told that it was just one shot, just from your perspective the entire time? Was there any conversations about, changing that? Did that have any, commitment to that practice? Or did you guys feel that was the one absolute, like, we were always going to do this from the start?
It's written in the script.
Oh, wow.
Or any dialogue starts, it says, this scene will take place and it will start in a medium cowboy shot and will slowly, imperceptibly push into a close-up. And we'll never see, we'll always see the back of Leslie's head, never sort of turn over. And it says that in the script. And there were a few conversations I had with the DP. I remember we went into the room one time and we sort of were having the conversation of like, would it be more interesting to be floating around and to like move over onto Leslie, and would
some sort of blocking and to like switch it up?
Like, would that be interesting? And I was like, I was open to it. And then I think when we did the rehearsal, Ian also had suggested like, do we just get coverage just in case? And then I was sort of always like, I think it's supposed to be how it's written. And then on the day, there was like maybe one suggestion from someone, I don't remember who it was, but it's like, do we just get Leslie just in case? And then I think it was Michael's call that he was like, no, because if we get it, then we'll use it. And I think we need to just do it how it's written. And I'm so glad that we ended up sort of trusting what was written in the script, because I think the intention behind having it be that way is what makes it so powerful. You're not able to look away. You don't get to use the medium of editing to sort of distance yourself from the moment. It's like you are locked in, and it makes it that much more real and effective. So
I was also curious, how many takes did you guys have to do? Was it just 8 takes?
Yeah. 4 on the first day and then 4 on the second day.
Oh my God. So you're practically doing theater there in a way. You're just going through it. I also, Michael is fantastic. I would love to talk about Carl Franklin for a bit, who I think Devil in the Blue Dress was one of my all-time favorite films. I think he's became an incredibly like important television director for like the amount of series he's worked on that has
Yeah.
helped shape streaming and what it is now. We'll love to talk about you and Ryan and Ian, the conversations you had for those first 2 episodes. I think, we mentioned perspective and how everyone's keyed in. I think a far more traditional series would have been a far more antagonistic look at these two brothers. Instead, it is taking an eye's perspective from everyone, almost like Rashomon in a way.
Yeah.
And I think, starting off on the right foot is very key for getting people who may be skeptical into the series and to maybe have a reevaluation of their own perspective. So what was it like, collaborating with Carl and talking to Ryan and Ian for those start and getting to show off how it became?
Carl really set the tone for us in terms of him being a director. He was the first one. We got to have like 2 weeks of rehearsal with him before we started shooting. And I mean, I remember like he just really held the space for me and held, I came in like so passionate and like
Okay.
stern and factual of this is what I believe. This is
Boom,
what
boom,
happened.
boom.
Like, no, that's not right because this is actually what happened. And he kind of had to be like, oh, okay. Like, he knows.
He's
like,
locked in.
He knows like what's up. And so, and I was not afraid to be like, this is what I believe the character is doing and blah, blah, blah. And so he was very, he opened his arms and allowed me to sort of have my perspective. And I think I really just went into it with my own thoughts and feelings and how I felt about the case. And then I think I sort of just like let the show and the circumstances like revolve around my own research and passion. And I sort of just allowed myself to step into the world that he created for us. And then, there were times where he had to sort of like pull me back and be like, hey,
let's reel it.
Let's like reel it in. But I think that's also what helped me, like, I don't know. I think the way that I felt about him and about both of them in the story was, I think, what like came across in the performance. Like, had I not cared, I don't think I would have been as good. And yeah, I hope to find that care and passion and support for the people that I'm playing in everything that I do, because it just makes the work that much better. Yeah, but he was an excellent director, and we also had so much fun together. And so supportive and kind and validating and yeah, and just wonderful.
You mentioned research. You spent a lot of time learning about Lyle and Erik. I find it fascinating that a lot of actors are very different to how they approach their performance style. Some actors be like, this is a job. I go in. I don't want to entirely know too much. I want to create my own version. I don't want to do some sort of hackneyed imitation of the real life individual I'm playing. For someone who, from what it sounds like, you do have a sort of stake in it. You have passion for it. Were you already, minus what you've spent before learning, even furthering your research? Did you have, I know you've spoken to both the brothers since and you have a relationship now, but in terms of leading up to the shoot, did you talk to them around that period? Did you want to abstain from that till after they saw it? Or, I'm curious of that dynamic about when you want to know, like, when I want to go in and when I want to pull back.
I would have wanted to meet them or talk to them, or Tammy at least, but I think Ryan didn't want us to get involved with them just yet. I think that could have maybe clouded how I approach things, or they could have affected the way that we were going about the show. And I think, to Ryan's credit, that was smart. I think maybe had I met him before or talked to him before, it could have possibly also put even more
Sure.
pressure on me than there already was. And so I'm glad that I didn't get to meet them until afterwards. But yeah, I mean, I never wanted it to be like a carbon copy of him. I didn't want to do sort of a imitation
Yeah.
of him, but instead I wanted to sound like him and move like him, because that further supports the fact that he was telling the truth about having been sexually abused by his parents. And that body language, there are YouTube videos of these psychology and body language experts who sort of analyze the way that he speaks and moves and carries himself. And I watched those, and so I knew it was important to sort of implement those aspects into the character to support the fact that he was telling the truth. So it didn't come from of course it came from a place of wanting to like look like him, sound like him, talk like him, because I'm playing him, but also because of what the more important factor of that it was going to support his truth.
And I think you did a really great job, Cooper. I think that as someone who was born in the back end of the 90s, this was something before my time. And I think a lot of people were experiencing this series, for the first time, is shaping their perspective and maybe even like learning about this case. Because again, I didn't even know about this. This is like my parents knew about it, but, and I think you're shaping a next generation of people who are learning about this in their case. And hopefully that leads to something better for these two gentlemen in the future and that the time they spent. And I just think you and the rest of the team did an amazing job on the series, and I'm very excited to see what you do next. Cooper, thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
I just want to say also, very excited to see you in Artificial, because Luca Guadagnino, I think, is just absolutely brilliant. Like last year, like Queer and Challengers are both like top 10 favorite for me, and I'm very excited. I think you're going to be amazing. And that ensemble is just brilliant, what he's putting together. So
they keep just casting
every day, the new Variety updates. You're like, oh yeah. And I was just like, okay, we get it, Luca. Everyone loves you. But yes, very excited for you. Congratulations on the Emmy. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.